What's up? I wanted to do a video. I know I said I kind of wanted to maybe get away from the drug videos, but this is something that's been on my mind for a while, and I think it's very important, at least to me, and probably a lot of other people. I just wanted to talk about my experiences on LSD, just specifically LSD, not the other hallucinogens, and what I think about it, and um, I kind of wanted to ask the question, and I'd like to just get a response from people either on YouTube or just through messages like I've got before. I wanted to thank people for the the other videos, and I know haven't got a whole ton of views, but I'm just asking questions, and I want just people's feedback, whether it's on Facebook or through something. But ultimately, the question I want to ask is, does LSD make you smarter? It's a weird question. Personally, I'm I've only I've done many other hallucinogens since I was 17, but LSD was the last one. I've only done it in the past year, and I can say that over the past year, I have used it close to maybe 20 times, which is a lot, at least for most people, compared to most people. And it's weird from what I read online and what I've known about it for years. And this is kind of what I wanted to say. This is why I had never used it before and had stuck to mushrooms or some other actually legal, such as salvia and some other things, is because from what I've gained is that first of all, I heard that it was way too strong and that it caused flashbacks, unlike other hallucinogens. LSD and that class actually, and there's a lot of research to back this up, is compared to psilocybin, it actually has been known to cause a lot of flashbacks or persisting um, hallucinogen disorders. And what I find interesting is that this hasn't really happened to me. Maybe this happens when people um, have bad experiences with it. I can say personally, I've never had a bad trip, whether it be on anything. I've always um, gained some insight. But what I wanted to talk about, I guess, is kind of like the difference between, for me, psilocybin, which is the other main one, and LSD. I wanted to talk about um, with mushrooms, and I know many people probably know this, but with mushrooms, it seems to have like have a resounding theme with it, and this usually, um, I mean, you with mushrooms, you seem to think a lot about your life, your personal self, and things like that. It gets really deep, I feel like, with psilocybin, and it can get really intense. I've had some really intense trips with it. However, I haven't ever had a bad one. It's just been intense, and I feel like it almost hits you with the truth. Where compared with LSD, me trying it at 23 years old, and using it at 23, of course, I've had many other kind of close to analogs and such in the past, but never actual real LSD. But um, when that did happen this past year, um, it's given me a whole different perspective on tripping. It, um, I feel like compared to anything else, it is very light on the um, mental processes, and I feel like it actually enhances them, um, which cannot be said about many of the other ones. I feel like it puts you in kind of a catatonic stupor, and you aren't able to actually move and think and feel and laugh and actually carry a conversation coherently. a lot of people will say, well, you want something that's going to throw you in a really weird state. But for me, I feel like at this age that I've already kind of learned everything from using mushrooms and things like that. I don't want to be ignorant. I could use them again. However, with after my experiences with LSD, I don't feel that going really, really deep is something that I'd want to do often. But with LSD, I feel like it's something that I would want to use often. In fact, I've been thinking lately, maybe, and not to the extent that a lot of people use marijuana, but is LSD my marijuana? That's what I'd like to know. I don't like weed. I don't smoke it anymore, but um, is it my therapy that I can use maybe once every few months and feel good? Is it something that is going to diminish after time and I'm going to learn something really horrible about it or get horrible effects that are going to last my whole life? From what I've read, no. But there seems to be a lot of anxiety that comes with it for a lot of people. For me, I haven't experienced that yet. I don't want to jump to conclusions because I've only used it over the past year, year and a half or so. But from what I've gained, it's actually put me in a much clearer mind after use. And that's the most important thing with any hallucinogen is, does it benefit your life? And for me, um, after quitting drugs, um, besides the hallucinogens, um, it has played a major part in keeping me sober. And I want, and it's kind of funny. I mean, you think a lot of people will think, well, that's still a drug. That's still something that you could become addicted to. But I don't feel like that's true. Um, I can say that it makes me feel a lot better. It has the lingering effects makes me feel a lot better about myself. Lower anxiety, something you wouldn't get lasting with mushrooms. Um, these kind of effects I feel like are very sacred to LSD. And even though the hallucinations on it aren't um, as powerful as mushrooms, I feel like its effects are much better in the long run. I feel like it has made my head a lot clearer. I can actually draw now. Um, you know, drawing when you're on it is obviously really fun, but I feel like I've been writing a little bit more, probably the past, let's say, I don't know, and concentrating on school is more, and it hasn't fried me. And I just wonder if there's anyone else out there that gets the same effect from it, because a lot of people seem to kind of say either that it's really horrible, they've had a horrible time with it, or B, like they have done it way too much and they say, whoa, you don't want to do that too much. But I'm wondering from people if this is something I can use as a tool as long as I need it, possibly for the rest of my life, or is it something that I should probably only use sparingly or maybe stop altogether? For me, I've really, really thought about this. Is it something that I shouldn't use anymore? But um, but why? Why would it? If I'm not getting any negative effects from it, what what would be the point of quitting if um, if if you haven't experienced any kind of negative effects from it? And I know this is probably a question that a lot of people have asked, um, but I feel like it has actually made me a better person. I think a lot more clearer. I have lower anxiety, like I said, and I don't feel like I'm in a bad place anymore. I feel a lot better, and this is something that um, the that mushrooms or other psychedelics haven't done. They haven't actually put um, this lasting longer of a glow on my life, and I can retain information better in school. I can uh, just do a whole lot of things. I feel very open, and I feel like my soul has been cleansed. And I know this is a fairly, common theme with it, but do people actually use it their entire life? Because online you'll see things, and many other people say, oh, they've only used it maybe a couple of times a year. But I'm talking about maybe once a month, once every few months kind of use. Is that something that's safe? I don't want to be ignorant because it's only been, like I said, the past year, but is this something that's eventually going to catch up to me? Because to me, I don't see it happening. I feel very spiritual. I feel so in tune with things that I didn't think I could feel this in tune with reality. And that's about it. That's just kind of the question I wanted to ask. But hit me up, send me a message, or leave me a comment and let me know what you think or your experiences, because I always want to hear what other people have to say. So, happy trails. Bye.